And Mark, just let the notes, the minutes show that only those matters that went into closed session are the only ones discussed. Was a lengthy session, and we had just adjourned because there was a couple of items that we didn't get to, but we'll deal with that at the end of the meeting. Public meetings, we have none. Consent agenda. I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Is there any questions or comments on the consent? Don, Councillor Marshall.
Yes, I was wondering if we can get the resolution for the wind towers pulled, please.
And that one, which one? There's two in there. There's one about, is that the one on Middlesex? On supporting Middlesex? Okay. All right. That will be pulled and dealt with down probably on your report, Mark. We'll put it to Mark's report. Okay. No problem, done. Any other questions on the consent agenda? You want to make those, that it's pulled?
I'll make the change.
Okay, Mark will make that change on the motion. Mover and seconder, fine with that?
Yeah.
That's the way we'll do it. All those in favor? Then of the rest? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Thanks, Mark. That moves us back to onto the regular part of the agenda. Communications from Mayor and Council. Any council members have communications that they're willing to talk about? Councillor Eccles, John.
Several other councillors were up to Elmwood on Saturday morning, but the firemen had a breakfast up there. I haven't heard the numbers yet, but it was large. They say they usually feed between 500 and 600 people, and I would think they did so again on the weekend, and it was very well attended, and the food was very good.
Any other communications from council? Carol.
I'd just like to bring to your attention on Saturday, coming up June the 8th, there's a village-wide yard sale in Newstead, sponsored by the Recreation Committee. And it's an opportunity for everyone to put their things out and other people go and shop the village. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other councillors? From a mayor's perspective, speaking of meals, seem to be invited to a few of those at this time of the year. The Newstead Lobster Fest, steak, lobster, and crab was spectacular as far as attendance and the food, and the weather was just about perfect for them. In preparation for that a week ago Saturday, I believe that was the 25th of May, and excellent show put on again by the Newstead Lions Club. The Optimist Club of Ayton, in conjunction with Phil Singer's Orchards, had their Apple Blossom Festival just outside of Ayton, and I was able to get there in the morning for their breakfast before getting to the Newstead Lobster Fest for dinner, and hence the reason that I've just moved the stove right out of my house because I never eat at home anymore. And it was a little cool in the morning to start off with, but by lunchtime they had a great crowd there, and then the Ayton firefighters put on a pork chop barbecue. Pork chop?
No.
Chicken.
Rib.
Rib barbecue.
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
Yep, okay, thank you, Carol. Knew they did the barbecue, and it was well attended as well, too. So great work from a number of our volunteer groups out there raising some funds to put back into the community for their support. This past Saturday, the past week, on Wednesday to Saturday, I've been at the OAPSB, Ontario Association of Police Services Boards, annual general meeting and conference in Toronto. A lot of discussion continuing with OAPSB. Probably the biggest thing is on our collaborative bargaining and where we're at with collaborative bargaining. Very good conference, a number of great issues. Had 2 speakers from Scotland, from Glasgow, on their change in focus was the biggest thing of where policing is, and where policing getting to the roots of the problem instead of addressing the problems, going more for the roots. There was an individual as well, a deputy minister from Saskatchewan, that had a great report too of how they're changing their policing outlooks and policing vision, and working with more of the groups in the community, from mental health to social assistance, the health, and where trying to identify and getting away from the idea of just having, I thought it was a neat way of saying it, but the repeat customers. In Glasgow, they did a lot of work in Scotland, and 68% of the individuals that they arrested were rearrested. And I can see the chief saying, yeah, we have a few people that are familiar with the system and keep coming back. So how do they change that? And they've been doing a great 10-year strategy on that. Other than it was difficult to understand the lady's very thick Scottish accent, but a great conference in itself, and going forward with collaborative bargaining from OEPSB's perspective was very good. And we did have participation, had 2 other board members that were at the conference as well too. Anything else? Very good. Heard enough from myself and council, and I thank councillors. Was apologetic of not getting up to the Elmwood. It's been the first time in 6 years that I didn't get to the Elmwood Fireman's Breakfast on the 1st of June. Sometimes it has been on the 2nd of June, so I was able to celebrate birthdays with everybody. But this year didn't get there because of being at the police conference. Coming home from the conference, just like one little social tidbit, dropped into Markdale, saw the Director of Public Works at the curling club in Markdale. Took a certificate for an individual that is politically known throughout the area. Pat and George Schaefer's 40th wedding anniversary, they celebrated on Saturday. That was on June 1st, but I didn't know until I did up the certificate that the actual day that they were married was on June 2nd. So we were able to, next year I'll be able to go over and celebrate with them for 2 different reasons. Anything else from council? Want to update us on what's been happening? Very good. We do have a delegation this morning. Shauna Brown, property owner, and Shauna, welcome. You wanted to talk about issue up at the north end of Garifraxa there. Thank you for using the podium. Just on the sound system, you've got it. You've already been informed. Okay. Yep. Shauna, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I'm here to just talk about the bylaw process. I've been trying to get abandoned cars on my neighbor's lot at 455 Garifraxa Street North, which I think everyone except for Don Marshall I talked to regarding this prior to this meeting. I sent out a letter to West Gray on Tuesday, November 22nd, to Eunice Henning of 2011. And then it was forwarded to Terry, who took it to Brian. And it sat there until March and April of this year. Whereupon I came in to talk to Brian about it because of several reasons. One, I'm tired of looking at all the crap, pardon my English, but there's not just, there was at the time 10 abandoned cars, but there's a tow motor, there's a Sea-Doo, there's an air conditioner, there's all kinds of stuff back there that's been there for the whole 10 years that I've lived there. On several occasions I've talked to the gentleman, trying to be a friendly neighbor instead of going this way, but unfortunately I think he may be a hoarder and has a hard time getting rid of his stuff. So anyways, on February 1st, we put our house up for sale, and part of that is that we had to disclose that there is a crack in our sewer. And unfortunately, the crack was underneath one of the cars. So we asked Westgrade to help us. And after coming in several times and speaking to Brian and Terry, finally a letter was sent out. And I'm not here to bash Terry and Brian, just I want that to be clear. I'm just here to let you know that I think, my opinion as a taxpayer, that you need to get someone who just does bylaw. Because as I've said to, I think everyone I talk to, if I myself had a choice between helping someone get a permit for their house or dealing with a bylaw of an abandoned car that had been sitting there for 10 years, I'm going to help the person get their house going. But you need someone to help because without you guys helping me, I can't get those cars moved. I mean, I've talked, I've yelled, I've screamed, I've threatened. This man just does not care. So I did bring pictures with me. If any of you that didn't get there, I have pictures of before he moved everything, and he actually has moved the vehicles, but there's still 9 vehicles on his property, which, you know, doesn't really help me sell my house either when there's all these decrepit cars. That's it. I wrote a lot more, but
Don't feel shy about that. Well, I thank you very much for bringing this to us. I think we have dealt with having, I guess, what we would call a part-time bylaw enforcement officer. It's been part of Brian's department there of looking into those and whatnot, with the help of the police as well too, when required. But I think what you're bringing in and shedding some light onto, how are we delivering the service, how is it in a timely fashion, and from your perspective, I just want to clarify that. Obviously, you're not happy or satisfied with the timeliness of it, and it will mean that as council as a whole, we will, and administration, take a look at identifying if there is, as you've brought forward, there is the problem, and what is the best way to resolve and go forward with the problem. I'm gonna
one thing I didn't mention is that I've spent a lot of time and effort calling. I called everyone, and a couple times we had to play phone tag. I've talked to Brian on numerous occasions. I think he runs when he sees me coming now. But I really don't want you to feel like I'm bashing you, but I really did have to push Brian to get this done. And I understand why, because you know what? Building houses, that helps our economy too, and I understand that. But it's really frustrating when November 2011, I should not have to chase to get the first letter sent or the second letter sent. And I mean, Brian was nice enough to give him till the end of June. The good thing he wasn't dealing with me, because I wouldn't have given him that. Because he promised me 5 weekends in a row that he was going to move the cars. And only since Brian went up and told him that they were going to come and tow away his cars did he move them. But he didn't understand that when he told Brian he was going to clean them up, that he needs to remove all of the cars, not just move them out of the way. So I have a feeling that unfortunately you're going to be doing some towing. Not unfortunate to me.
I hope you're not meaning that on a personal basis, because it didn't work out good the last time I tried pulling something. Are there any questions? I think you've been very succinct and direct of what we're looking at. I wish I could say that, yeah, it was dealt with in a very timely manner and you were here to pat us on the back.
Well, you know what, if I see an improvement, I'll be back to tell you.
Very good, very good. And I think you have our knowledge that it is being addressed. It's just in the future, can we address it better? We will definitely be looking at that. That's what I can give for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you again, and thank you very much for stepping forward, because if we don't hear you just feel, okay, things must be okay out there. So,
Well, and that's
thank
why
you.
I decided to do this, because you wouldn't know, because you don't live beside him. Or maybe there's not too many houses that are like the one I live in. And one thing, just in case you weren't aware of this, the gentleman doesn't even live in Durham.
That I am aware of,
Okay,
yes. And
just
that-
because that's something that sort of just nickels me worse, is like, come dump in our town and then leave. And that just, I think it's sort of like a smack in the face. So.
And that did cause a bit of the problem with us trying to identify the ability to connect with the individual. You have that of living right beside him and knowing, there's the light on, I can go and connect with them, but we didn't. So thank you. And just to say that, though, there are some of our former townships out there that over 50% of the landowners are non-residents, and don't want the press to think that this is a terrible thing, that every non-resident is doing that. It's just one of those one-off type of things that needs to be
Definitely.
addressed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Shauna. We had a report come back, and it's on here. Chief, we have a report back, Chief. Between you and Brian, you can operate that microphone there to help out. And I'll turn it over to you. Chief, your report has been in the package, and just give us a...
Okay, this is as a result, of course, we all remember Mr. Sheepers made a presentation on behalf of himself and the residents of the Irish Lake area. It's very short. It's not as detailed as I normally do. That's because Mr. Sheepers kindly did most of the work for me. So, in totality, I totally agree with the concerns that the people have out there, that 60 is a little too fast for that area. We did a lot of enforcement since the 15th of April up in that area. Speed, including myself, speed is not an issue. The speed's too fast for that little spot in the curves there at Irish Lake, in my opinion. So I would support any reduction in speed in that area. And basically, I'm just here to answer any questions, if anybody has any questions.
Okay, any questions? And in your report, you're suggesting it be reduced to a 40?
That's correct.
Yep. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts? Councillor Eccles. John?
That's a shared road with our neighboring municipality. Do we have to get their permission to drop the speed limit, or their consent, or, and it's a neighboring jurisdiction, it's the OPP that do the other half of the road, I assume? No. How's that work?
Property-wise, they do the east side of the road with respect to property, but we, again, I don't know the legality of who owns what, but patrol-wise, the Artemisia-Glenelg town line with respect to accidents, enforcement, that type of thing is our responsibility by agreement. I think Councillor Thompson's more familiar with this, but when Westway first started, there was an agreement signed between the OPP. If you take this road, I'll take this road, and then if you take this one, I'll take that one. And the Glenelg Artemisia town line was, responsibility-wise, was assumed by this municipality.
Okay, yeah. Councillor Thompson, you had a question? Go ahead. Rob.
Yeah, I was just going to further, was the speed reduction sign, the cart put out there at all? You know, the cart Public Works says?
Yeah, it was out there, but I don't understand it has some problems with respect to recording speed, or is there some sort of a problem with the unit itself? I'm not really sure.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I believe the software that we have in here is not, with the speed sign, is not working properly, but it does record the speed for any individual going by with a vehicle, but we just don't have a record of it.
Yeah, no, I knew that was the problem, that it's not recording the, like it used to with the speed and the amount of vehicles and so on. That's not, as long as the sign's been put out there, or maybe we could look at doing that again, just to remind people now the summer's approaching with that speed sign.
But again, speed wasn't an issue. We didn't write any tickets, not one ticket. We spent a lot of time there since April the 15th, including myself, and speed's not an issue. It's the posted speed in my opinion is the issue. There's literally no place for pedestrians to walk on either side of the road. There are some little spots where you kind of cut into somebody's driveway type thing, but it is very narrow. And the roadway itself is a lot narrower than the average roadway. I mean, 5.9 to 6.0. The average road is 7.0 to 7.2.
And part of that reason is just the topography. That's a large hill on this side, and it's a lake on that side. There's only, you know.
That's true. And the curves, your point of perception for both pedestrians and motorists is very, very limited. And some of them perception is very, very minimal. And you take a car traveling at 60 kilometers per hour drives almost 55 feet per second. And one traveling at 40 kilometers per hour travels at 36.5 feet per second.
So how does council want to go ahead with this? Will we take the chief's recommendation and/or any other idea? Don, Councilor Marshall.
I guess the question on the sight lines, or maybe you can't comment on that, about the trees, if there was trees cut around that corner, if the sight lines would be better?
Yeah, it would be, but you'd have to, in my opinion, they're pretty good curves, and with length in length, you'd have to cut back a number of trees to in my opinion, to build a reasonable sight line.
But in saying that any little bit would help. It would help a bit.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, every little bit helps.
So you can see Ken right in there on taking that into account as well too. Point done. Any other questions or comments? So the procedure at this point in time then, if I can take direction that nobody's got any negative aspect about taking the chief's, just give direction for staff to prepare the adjustment to the bylaw, and courtesy telling the OPP as well as Grey Highlands of our recommendation, and having that on the next agenda or the agenda following. Next agenda would be June the 17th, Mark, and or 2nd or 3rd of July, whatever it is, but should be good enough for the 17th. Okay, so we can circulate those ones. Any other comments? Good enough time frame? Excellent. Okay, Ken, is there any other speed traffic or traffic calming measures that we can put out there? I know that there's 3 or 4 potholes in front of Councillor Eccles' spot that he wouldn't mind. He said he'd move them out there for them if they would like that. You can comment if you want. Go ahead.
As far as the speed sign, it is out working now, but we can certainly move it over there. It was out on the weekend, and we can move it to that area too for next week or whatever.
Yep. Okay, and that maybe put it there next week, or having it the ability after we drop the if and when the speed is limited there, how it passes, and have the ability to have it out there. It certainly is something that makes you aware when you see that blinking, and thankfully you're seeing the red blinking in the front windshield and not the red blinking in the back. Yeah, that's the one that's really bad. But, okay. All right. I think we've got good direction for that. And thank you for following it up on today, Mr. Cheapers. Very good. Okay. Yeah. It's very good, Chief. Okay, we'll move on down then to I believe it is the staff reports. Furthering is Ken's report. Just trying to, oh, there comes my recording secretary back. Ken, you want to go with Ken or are you getting Carrie? Carrie's the first one, so.
Way, yes.
Okay, we'll just wait a few seconds and Director of Finance Treasurer will be in. Ken, go ahead.
Just on the presentation by Chief Berger, I assume we would have to notify Grey Highlands. I believe they'll have that road in their bylaw enforcement for speed, so I don't think we have it in ours because that's their part of the town line, so we'll have to make contact with Grey Highlands.
It's ours as far as enforcement goes, yeah. But as far as who has the speed set on it, and that could be, yeah, just something you're identifying. So that's why I was a little hesitant in saying we may be able to get it done by June the 17th.
Okay.
But we'll check on that. Thanks, Ken. Don.
I guess my question is then, so why are we making a ruling on it? And why is it not going to Grey Highlands?
Maybe both that would agree.
Let's just think that it, we're a little more proactive than they are over there. Phone sounds making the paper a lot on different issues. And I think it's in that who does what. Yeah, we police it, and as Ken's saying, maybe it's covered under Grey Highlands bylaw. Very similar to, I think there's a couple of other ones out there on town lines where, you know, we have it, but the OPP are policing it. So,
Did the presentation go to Grey Highlands?
not that I'm aware of. But the biggest reason is, all along on the curves, as you know, the permanent residents live in West Grey. There's very few people from Grey Highlands that live along those curves on the west side, or on the east side.
Yeah.
So I felt that that's, I'm assuming that's why they came here.
Check with the clerk.
Okay? And, yeah, Mark will be able to go back and forth with the clerk, Debbie Robertson over there. Okay. All right, Carrie, welcome this morning, Ms. Mighton. And your report, we have a couple of things on your report. The first one being the vouchers. And we have that number 10 voucher was in the package. Any questions or comments on any of the vouchers that are there? Deputy Mayor Bell, John.
Sorry, I have to turn this on. On page 3, I think there was 2 loads of topsoil delivered, one by Lawns and one by Cedarwell. I just wondered where they went to and why, I guess, what they're used for, 2 loads, why we needed 2 loads of topsoil.
Probably Ken would be the one. Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, they use the topsoil for damage from the winter where the wings have got on the lawns or whatever, and I believe they're also putting some topsoil down where we had the frazzle ice piled in the down by the ball diamonds there. It's all broke up from the ice, and
Okay, thanks, Ken. That explains that. You need some down there. Thank you.
Thank you. On page 8, Johnson and Schwass, there was legal fees there. Are those recoverable?
Mark is saying that yes, that was in the agreement on that road change back.
Yes.
Yep, okay,
Thank you.
very good. And yeah, the proponent has said that they would be paying the legal, so it's recoverable. Good. Any other questions? Don, Councilor Murphy.
Just wonder what the equipment was, Ken, for the Newstead Lagoon? Had equipment rentals for the Newstead Lagoon. You know what that was?
Actually, it wasn't the lagoon. It was up on top of the field there where the they had the topsoil stripped off. The field in behind that house, there was a pile of topsoil there, and we've pushed it onto the field so the farmer can plant a crop in there instead of having to grow up in weeds. It's actually fronting the lagoon.
Okay, thanks, Don. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, Rob, Councillor Thompson.
Page 10, Pratt Plumbing and Heating, it says new furnace. I thought that was to be built to the police, not the fire. It says fire portion, fire building.
The resolution indicated a split between police and fire when you passed your resolution, so that's how we allocated it.
Oh. I thought I was under the impression they were paying for it.
That's the first one that they, it's not the old one going back in.
Oh, that was.
This is the first original one. That's what that bill's from.
Oh, it's in the police building.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the accounts? Seeing none, then I'll introduce the motion. I have a motion moved by David Molson, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 10, 2013 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $312,157.96. Any questions on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay, Carrie, the second one is a request for proposals on the asset management plan. Certainly had a number of individuals that were keen on putting an RFP forward to us. So anything else other than what is there you want to enlighten us on?
I don't think so. They were extensive to review. Everything ranging from complete software packages to using Municipal DataWorks to using an Excel spreadsheet. I was a little concerned with using Excel spreadsheets. It's a lot of data, just that it could be a lot to try to keep going forward. So we are recommending the Infrastructure Solutions Incorporated. They would load it on the Municipal DataWorks system, which is the Ontario Good Roads software that if you're a member of Good Roads, then it's offered free of charge. So that's they also had felt like they were going to have a good balance between engineers, which is Ken's component of it, the roads, bridges, water, sewer, but also they were contracting out for their finance strategy part of it to more accounting, finance related people. So I thought there was a good balance between the two.
Excellent. Okay. Great explanation. Questions? John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Just real quick, recognizing this isn't the quote-unquote cheapest one on here. It was about 10% more. You've dealt with these people before, Carrie?
They did load our bridge data in a few years back. The Good Roads was offering $5,000 to municipalities to load their bridge data. They wanted to get all the bridges on there. Again, they're trying to then pursue the government for funding, so it helps that way. So this is the company that we that had loaded that information for us on the Municipal DataWorks. But other than that, that's the only interaction I've had with them. But that was we did use them there. They are very familiar with the Municipal DataWorks software. They have used it quite a bit and seem to be very familiar with it.
Thank you.
And in saying that, Carrie, was it noted that we have worked with Municipal DataWorks when that was available to all of the individual companies that applied? Saying, obviously we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 different software programs. They would have known that we have worked with Municipal DataWorks.
I didn't specifically say that we'd work with Municipal DataWorks, but that we were open to what kind of software to manage the plan, that we were open to options in there. But no one asked specifically if we'd had loaded it onto Municipal DataWorks. They're probably all quite familiar that most municipalities did jump on when they got $5,000 to load it. I'm sure they, at least the bridge data, and that's all that we have on there is the bridge data. We haven't gotten the roads or water and sewer information on there at this point. But it wasn't specifically noted in the RFP though that for that. We weren't necessarily preferring it, but some of the other softwares, I did look at some demos, you know, looked really great, but it's maybe pretty costly, and then going forward with the annual support costs. So trying to balance cost versus benefit.
Yep, absolutely. I think done a very good job of projecting into the future. We're always asking you to shop on a dime and looking for change back, so thank you. Any, where did that resolution go? I know we've circulated it. Any other questions on the RFPs? A few of the companies I know, the number one, the first company listed there, is that local or more?
They were located up north, Appawascan, something like that. Is that, I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it was a northern company. They had done a lot of work for some other, a lot of them provided references for different work they've done for other municipalities. So they ranged from, you know, I can't think of that one specifically, some of the local, not necessarily local in our area, but they did a lot with northern municipalities and northern First Nations, but they have done a few down in this area as well.
Okay. All right. Any further questions on the report or on the RFPs? Seeing none, I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby accepts the proposal from Infrastructure Solutions, Inc. for completion of an asset management plan in accordance with the provincial requirements prescribed in the publication Building Together Guide for Municipal Asset Management Plans at a cost of $21,000 plus HST. Any questions on the motion? The motion doesn't refer to, and I didn't see the time frame of being able to do this work. They can do it in 2 days or 2 weeks, 2 months?
In the request for proposal, we had asked them to be able to complete the plan by December 31st of this year, which was the original target. If we had been approved for the M3 capital funding, we would have had it completed by that date. That pressure is no longer there, but we'll still try to go on that time frame though.
Okay, all right. Then we'll try and hold them with that, see if we can use that. Any other questions on the motion? I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Anything else, Carrie, you've got for us?
Just a reminder to submit your timesheets, please.
Okay. Yeah. Those are just for you and you only, Mr. Bell. Okay, any questions of Carrie? We've got? No? All right, thank you, Carrie. And Ken, we're down to a couple of reports that you have here for us. The first one being on the canteen tender for the Normanby Arena. There's a bylaw on the agenda for today. Any further comments on it, Ken? Or any questions? Ken?
No, we've gone back to tender for the canteen, and for the Normanby Arena, it's the rental rate is substantially higher than what has previously been. I believe Mr. Lantz will have a more diversified lunch counter than what's previously been there. He's kind of in that type of work, so I'm sure he plans to serve more lunch type food than what has previously been there. And he's also asked if it would be possible to during the summer and fall months to have a outside type hot dog stand or booth there at the outside the arena. So, but that's not part of the bylaw. But he's just wondering if council would agree to allow him to serve outside as well during the hockey school and tryouts, whatever.
Carol, Councillor Lawrence.
Well, I just wondered, like for the hockey schools and all of the summer ice events, is he not going to run the canteen inside then? He'll be outside, he wants to be outside in his cart or whatever it is?
Yeah, I don't believe he'd run both of them, Carol. I think he just asked me if it would be possible to run it outside. I'm not sure why he wants that, but...
No, what I'm saying is if he does that, he would not be running the one inside. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's looking more for there's more equipment he could use outside, like for French fries and
yeah, deep
like
fryer and that
yeah,
sort of
fryer and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then the barbecuing sausage and popcorn possibly might come into play as well too. I believe that we have at this point in time there is a licensing for those types of, what is it, refreshment stands?
Refreshment vehicle.
Refreshment vehicle license, yeah. So maybe we could ask Mr. Lawrence to look into that as well too.
Okay, I'll notify him of that.
All right, good. Any other questions on the canteen tender? Okay, well, it does come up for the bylaw later on the agenda. The prefab bridge, again, we do have a bridge over troubled waters down there in Normanby now?
Yes, the bridge was set in two sections last Thursday, May 30th. Everything went very well. There was a number of the local residents and some of the council were down to see what was happening. They have a little bit of work to complete this week. They have some concrete to pour between the road and the abutments and bring the road up to grade to allow the traffic to go on, and some guide rail to put on, but they expect to have the traffic running through it by the end of this week. So it looks very good.
Okay. Any questions? I thought some councillors might bring that up under good news and communications, but they missed that. John.
I didn't want to steal Ken's thunder on that one. No, I was there, as was Councillor Eccles, Councillor Marshall. Maybe some others were there when I wasn't there, but no, it was very interesting. What interested me most, I guess, Mr. Hoy from the county was there, along with one of the members of the bridge crew, but the Director of Transportation from Grey County was not there. And I guess I was a little dismayed at that when I guess we have another existing bridge that's under question between ourselves and...
Correction, we don't have it. It's a county of Grey and a county of Bruce.
Thank you for that clarification. But I guess with the Director of Transportation being, I'm going to say, maybe somewhat unfamiliar with these types of bridges, I would have thought it would have been good educational experience for that director to be at this to see exactly how well and how neat and trim and quickly the bridge went on. And I would have thought it would also have been a good time for the Director of Transportation from Bruce County also to be there. And a little dismayed about that, Mr. Mayor. I know you're on the Transportation Committee, and I think at your next committee meeting, maybe that should be brought to light.
It was nice to have the engineer and the bridge crew there. They'll be taking nothing back but positive comments, I can imagine, to the director himself. Carol, Councillor Lawrence.
Thank you. I just wondered if there's any other work that we have to do as a municipality, or is it under contract and it'll be totally done when? Like, do we have to put, I don't know, gate-in baskets or more concrete or anything like that in, or will it be totally finished and we won't have any other work?
It'll be totally finished, Carol, when they leave there, yes.
So that's the entire cost then?
Yes.
Good, yeah.
We'll have a little bit. We've had some labor down there we had to cut some trees and to allow the crane to come in, and we've hauled a bit of gravel in, but other than that, no, it's be $5,000 or less that West Gray has to submit, so.
That's great. I wasn't able to be there, Mr. Mayor, but I did go up when they put the one in at Chatsworth, and it is quite an event to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you can go and take a picnic basket. You don't have to rent a hotel room for 6 months like we do in the conventional ones. It's just a morning go. Deputy Mayor Bell.
Yeah, just one little point. Ken, do we do the guy rails up to the bridge on both sides, or does the bridge crew do that from Grey County?
The contractor's doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Ken, any further comments?
Just on another note, I did have a call from some of the residents down there. They wondered if the council would consider putting a plaque up on the bridge to commemorate a new bridge. They do have a name for the bridge. It's the Glen Eden Whites Bridge. I guess that area down there was known as Glen Eden, and apparently it was the Whites Bridge, and they just wondered if there could be a plaque put on the bridge with certainly recognizing council and the contractor.
Any thoughts on it?
Can we put it on, Ken, so it doesn't get stolen?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, we can put it on.
Councillor Lawrence Carroll.
Well, I think it's a nice idea, but they're certainly not inexpensive. I think that plaque that went in the arena was $2,500. So I don't know if this one would be as large, but it's a fair cost.
That's what I was thinking. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's one in the lobby here for this building. That's one of those brass back plaques, and yeah, it was a little more than that. It was a little bit bigger, but yeah, maybe before we give permission.
Well, I was just going to say, though, I put the same thing on the 3 benches that I donated last year, and I can't just remember, but they weren't so much. Seems to me they were about somewhere between $200 and $300, and they're about yay big, and that's the same type of thing. If we got a smaller one, it wouldn't be a large expense.
Yep. Ken, you got any thoughts or ideas?
There was one just went on the Newstead washroom, the new facilities, and I have the invoice for it. We're going to put it through us and charge them back because of the HST, but it was $750, and it's a good size plaque. But it won't, there'll be more, certainly more script on a plaque we'd put on the bridge, but I'm not sure how much more it would be, but that's just an idea. I could check with the contractor too and see if he has any wish to move forward in that direction too.
I'm going to say this, and if, I think it would be very nice to make that, because when we first started talking about this, I could give you the description of where it was on the road, but when somebody was talking about Whites Bridge, it didn't mean anything to me about being Whites Bridge, but going forward, it'd have that name on it and not being forgetful. Can we just ask Ken to get a bit of more information? Has anybody got any negative aspect on Ken going ahead and finding out whether it's $200, $700, or $7,000? You bring that figure back, there might be some negativity to it, Ken. Okay. All right, glad to hear that it went as exactly as planned. A little bit later, we did have a couple of small delays in there, but certainly not as much as doing conventional construction on it. Okay? All right, anything else, Ken, you've got for us?
The Public Works roads crew attended a course put on by the County of Grey and the Grey County Road Supervisors Association at the Ayton Shed here. It was pre-trip inspection training that was held in, they had an instructor come up from the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, and there was a half-day course, and they all took it, and I believe the total cost was $89 for each participant, and the Grey County Road Supervisors are contributing $30 for each participant. They do have some money left over from the trade shows, so they're hoping to put that into training for some of our lower tier staff. So.
And you said that was at the county depot just north of Ayton. Yeah. Okay, Mark. Very good. Training is never a bad thing out there. And as we know, or as the saying goes, there's always new ways to skin the cat. Okay. Oh, is that a lead into the next piece on the agenda, Mark? Okay, any other questions for Ken? If I could, Ken, any update on our dust suppressant? Other than the past week, really hasn't been that much of a problem out on some of our rural gravel roads. Go ahead.
Yes, I believe, talking to Tim this morning, there's about 3 load left in each former rural township, along with, there's some dead ends to do, and but if everything goes well, they'll certainly be done this week. They did get quite a bit of it on last week, and it's certainly with the rain, not so much the heavy rain, but the rain, it's helped set it up really good. It really looks good. Also, on another note, we did have a demonstration, different type of dust suppressant that the contractor agreed to put on, do 1 kilometer free, and we done it up on the west back line north of the Barhead area, just west of Markdale, and it was put on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's really set up well. It's a new product they have out, and they wanted us to try it, so. But it's almost black. It's really set up well, but we'll see what happens from over the summer, how it looks. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Ken, we do have a fair bit of maintenance and a couple of kilometers of tar and chip. Any time on scheduling where our crews are coming with that?
Yes, I expect the next couple of weeks we'll get started at that. Tim's been in contact with MSO, the contractor, through John McKean, and he's going to come down here and do it in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So we're using a dust-free stone this year again?
Certainly in the areas that where dust isn't wanted, we'll put the dust-free stone down, yes.
Okay. Council members, be ready. Everybody wants the road black, they just don't, and they want it immediately with no dust. But these types of product, it is going to happen a wee bit. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ken. Unless there's any other questions, we'll move on then. Mark's report. And what have you got for us on this animal bylaw, Mark?
Well, first of all, I guess the treasurer is trying to track down Chief Berger, who was supposed to attend to discuss this bylaw of the city of Thorold. So I may have given him a different time, expecting when this report would be held. But anyway, I actually met with the Grey County clerks. We meet every few months, and I did discuss the issue of the elimination basically of the OSBCA duties and responsibilities, and the assumption of those duties by the municipality or by the police. It was their thinking, and pretty well unanimous, that there wasn't really any special bylaw that needed to be passed because the act itself would be the guiding, I guess, principle for dealing with care and control of animals. So that's one issue I was going to bring. We obviously, if you look at the City of Thorold bylaw, West Grey itself obviously has a bylaw that relates to dogs running at large, kennels, that kind of thing. So a lot of it in this bylaw we already have in place. There are other things in there as a city, of course. They deal a little bit with livestock. I guess there may be some properties that are zoned to allow it, which isn't typical in the cities, but there might be some outlying areas. Of course, there's other issues about restricting dogs, which we don't do in West Grey, and then restricting the number of cats, which of course we don't have any bylaws that restrict cats or the number of cats, and we don't enforce impounding or taking cats when calls are made from members of the public. So I'm not sure. I was going to hopefully get some more insight from the police chief on this, what he was thinking. There's another section about trapping of animals, and only live traps, of course, which might be a city thing, but I don't think we do too many live trapping of beavers in West Grey, for instance. So there's a few things I think council will want to look at if it was to pass a bylaw outside of the present dog and kennel bylaw. Again, perhaps get the opinion from the police chief if they could enforce the Ontario Association of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act just through the act itself as opposed to a bylaw. So I'm not sure if the chief will show up in due course, but that's about what I have to report.
Okay, well, any questions for Mark? I was wondering if Mark's got a couple of other items on here, one that we added this morning. Can we skip over that and maybe get some of the opinion from the chief, if he does show up, and then come back to this when the chief is here, and go on, step down to the next one, Mark? Because I think, yeah, it's a pretty extensive bylaw, and a fair bit of that bylaw is not applicable really to a rural municipality, I don't believe, but there are parts of it in there that maybe we need to exercise going forward, but we'll maybe wait and see if the chief can come back. We'll step forward then to the next era. Letters, and Mark, what do you want to speak? What does council want to, after seeing the report, the couple of letters that are here, they're from NextEra, basically on how they're telling us that they're going to lay down cable. Carol, Councillor Lawrence.
Do we have some larger maps? I couldn't make head nor tail of that on my laptop because it was so small, so fine, you couldn't. I mean, that certainly isn't good enough information for us.
It's hard still to...
Mark has some that, yeah, as he's just indicating, they're blowing up here 11 by 17, but still the print on them is,
Yeah.
It's very fine.
I think they need to
detail.
supply us with something better than that. If they're looking for cooperation here, we have to know what we're looking at.
We could get the county to...
Well, we could get the county maybe to blow them up, but...
Why should we do it? They should do it.
Exactly. My comment was on it, instead of doing that, send a notice back to them as to what depth they're going to put the concrete casement in, and or if there's any other options that they have. Because as far as I could see in that, none of that was addressed. It was just going to be buried. And it is a requirement from West Grey to have those cables encased, and how they're going to go about that. And until they come forward, I would suggest there's no sense in having a meeting, because they haven't even come close to addressing what we're requesting. That's, from my perspective, that's not acceptable. John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
No, I 100% agree with you, Mr. Mayor. The other thing, when I started talking about the Saugeen River, I think we had suggested at one time that there needs to be, that line, if it was to go forward, need to be bored underneath the river. That they need to hang off West Grays Bridge. And I'm not sure if that's been addressed or not. And I guess, Mr. Mayor, do you know of where the county is at on their idea of all these proposed drawings and ideas?
As of yet, I haven't had comment. We do have county council tomorrow, so we'll be able to touch base. It's one of these things of just a phone call conversation. Don't believe we've got to have a sit down with them. But I don't believe that the county has made a full determination. There's been no policy put out as to how the cable is going to be laid in the county roads and whether the county is going to require, I know that request went forward, that it be the same as what West Gray is and that it be consistent. And they're still working on getting that together. So
Very good, and that, yes, and you answered my question with it being a kind of a, what's good for the county is good for West Gray kind of thing, but we do have to get together with them on that, so that's great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? So can I ask concurrence that we direct staff to send a letter to Mr. Dudek indicating that there's no need for a meeting until Nextera, and if Nextera wants to comply with the with the determination of how West Gray wants the cables if they were to come.
Just not if they want to. I think you need a little bit stronger than that. They must.
Well, it was the if they want to. What I was meaning by that was if they don't want to, they don't need to bother even think about being here.
As long as that goes in.
Yes. Okay, Mark? We'll put a letter together and send back to Mr. Dudek. Okay. All right. Well, we're waiting on the chief, and if the chief does get here, there was a piece pulled from the consent agenda. Councillor Marshall, you wanted to talk about that, was with the North Middlesex. So Don, we'll deal with that one.
Yeah, it's just, I believe that it's very important in future years that green energy will have a 75 years from now, green energy will be like the nuclear right now, in my opinion. It'll be generating 50 to 75% of the energy that we need in North America and worldwide. So I think that if the municipalities, I believe that the municipalities or private citizens or both in partnership should be doing this and keeping the money locally and not some company from Florida bringing in big turbines. I think we should be doing that ourselves, but if we're not going to do that, then we have to allow other companies to come in, like Bruce Nuclear. They're running a private company and we're buying hydro from them. So I cannot support not supporting green energy, if that makes any sense. So I just had to have this pulled so I can not support this resolution. Because if we all say no, then we're saying yes to forever living on nuclear energy. That is, the children of the future are going to pay and pay and pay forever and ever for a service that when nuclear energy, when uranium runs out and there is no nuclear fuel anymore, the people will still be paying for the repository forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, let's try and keep religion out of politics, but great inference there, Don. Good. Councillor Lawrence, Carol.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think this council is against green energy. What we are not a willing host to is industrial wind turbines. And that's what this from North Middlesex is not speaking against green energy, it's speaking against wind turbines. I'm certainly not against solar. I'm certainly not against water power. My God, $2 million per turbine would fix a heck of a lot of dams in this province. That's 24/7 it runs, it's clean, and there's other forms of green energy, and certainly Mr. Councillor Marshall says that they'll be paying for an ever and ever. We're going to be, and our people coming on are going to be paying forever and ever for the cost of these wind turbines and the amount of money they're getting. So I would be in support of that resolution. It's very similar to what we've done.
Okay. Well, we do have the resolution. It was pulled, so it'll have to be passed individually here, procedurally. Is there, or are there, any other comments on the motion to support and or not support North Middlesex? Okay. We'll see about getting the motion on the floor then.
Mr. Mayor, I just
Go ahead.
would like to add an amendment to that, though. The municipality of West Grey being or already declared an unwilling host. We did that the last time on the other resolution.
Okay. Yeah. How did we word that the last time out, Mark? Okay. If and it will get the consistent verbiage on that. Carol, would you be fine if I introduced the motion the way it is, and at the end as amended, with the understanding that that amendment would be to infer that West Grey is also an unwilling host, and how we've used it in supporting a number of these other ones. Okay. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports the resolution of the Municipality of North Middlesex Council declaring the municipality is not a willing host for industrial wind turbines, and further that a supporting letter be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, the Ministry of Environment, the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Rural Affairs, and the Municipality of North Middlesex, and that this motion as amended, and the amendment in reference that West Grey is an unwilling host. Okay? Any comments or questions on the resolution? Don? Councilor Marshall.
I guess if I could just comment on one whereas here on North Middlesex's resolution about the future jobs of Ontario are going to hinge on effective energy costs by subsidizing the cost of energy by these wind projects. We're limiting the future growth of Ontario. Well, I guess still in my opinion, but I think the energy cost of nuclear is going to, the subsidization is going to way outweigh the of wind. So when they put that in there, that is, I don't know where they're getting that source of their costs. They're paying wind towers now between 13.5 and 11 cents a kilowatt. Nuclear is much higher than that. So we're not subsidizing wind towers any more than we're subsidizing nuclear. So Ontario companies are not leaving Ontario because of the energy costs. They're leaving because of a multitude of different reasons. And we can include wages in there. And safety regulations that we're putting on them through workman's compensation, and we cannot compete with China with all our different things, and that's why they're leaving.
Okay, Carol.
Mr. Mayor, Councillor Marshall's figure's correct. Is that all they're paying? Because it wasn't at one time 44 cents to the wind turbine? It's down now to 13 cents?
No, the industrial wind turbines, and I think he is accurate in saying that, is somewhere between 11 and 13.5 cents.
Has that been?
Some of the microfits were above that. The last numbers that I heard, our gas plants were at about 11 cents to operate a natural gas plant. Nuclear, for operational costs and what they're getting paid, is about somewhere between 5.5 and 6 cents a kilowatt. But where that doesn't come into is what are the ongoing costs, I think of where Councillor Marshall is going with that, of what is what's the depository, what's that going to cost? What is the cost on the capital that has already gone in? But the operational costs are
Because
5,
his comment
6.
was that it's way more for nuclear. I don't think they're getting a way more per kilowatt.
They're not getting any more per kilowatt, no. But are there costs that we're carrying from developing from years and years ago?
We may be
Where's
carrying,
those factored in? And, yep, I know where you're going. You're going to say, go ahead, say it.
I was just going to say, with decommissioning of all these turbines, wind turbines, there's going to be ongoing costs there. It's probably going to be the taxpayers.
So, anyways, any other questions or comments on this very, I'd have to say, emotional subject? Don?
I'll ask for a recorded vote, please.
Very good. If there's no other questions, then I'm going to ask the clerk to take the recorded vote.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Yes.
Councillor Eccles,
Yes.
Mayor Eccles,
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence,
Yes?
Councillor Marshall,
No.
Councillor Mollison,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 6-1 with 2 absentee members. Declare that motion carried. Okay. Now, Mark, I guess we're back to your first, we're still back on the dog bylaw, and it doesn't seem that the chief is going to return to talk to you about it. I think he was, but anyways, so be it. Is there any further questions for Mark on the bylaw from the city of Thorold and going forward of where West Grey wants to go with developing or discussing?
Discuss it further, Chief.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I don't believe at this point in time that it is, that we can incorporate, just copy verbatim the City of Thorold's bylaw. As I indicated earlier, I think there are a few things in there, but there's quite a bit of it that is not relevant to the operation of a rural municipality in this case. Can we give direction to Mark to continue working with the police chief on developing an animal control or animal care bylaw for West Grey? Yes. Using part of the City of Thorold and any other municipality out there that may have some help with us on this subject? Yeah. Okay. All right, Mark. Good with that? Great. We have a couple of bylaws. Do you want to take a break, or do we want to roll through the bylaws here this morning? Well, don't need to worry about this side. This side's already saying roll, and they've got the majority today, so sorry, Carol, Dave.
Leave anyway.
No, you can step up and go if you want. So we will introduce the bylaws for first, second, and third reading. And in saying that, the first bylaw I think we have is just for third reading, which is the Elmwood one. Yep. Okay. Okay, yep, this is the first one. Okay, doing bylaws, and the first one is back for third reading. Bylaw moved by John A. Bell, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that Bylaw number 44, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into an Elmwood Fire Department joint agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and the Municipality of Brockton be now read a third time, passed as amended and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Just for note, the Municipality of Brockton did pass all 3 readings of this bylaw last Monday night, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Yeah, I think it has made the news. It's been making the news for the last 3 years. Councillor Lawrence
Well, I was
Carroll.
just going to say at the Fireman's Breakfast in Elmwood, they had copies of the article out of the Sun-Times that said West Grey poised to sign. They had them on all the tables, and there was a big one up on the wall.
Who wrote that article?
It was in the Sun-Times. So it's certainly been a burning issue over there for them to do that.
Yes, it has been, but I think we've come to a resolution that both sides are happy with, and the fire department themselves are very happy with. Change sometimes happens. Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Yeah, and along with that, I did have, managed to have breakfast with Mayor Ingles, and he's very relieved and happy that it has passed their hurdle, and hoped it would do the same here, and I thought that it probably would, and everybody was in a little better frame of mind, so.
And had they taken our suggestion 2.5 years ago, we probably would have been 30 months ahead in this game, but anyways, it's been a great discussion. Don, Councillor Marshall.
Yeah, I couldn't get over Saturday morning, and I was pretty disappointed, or I probably disappointed them a lot. I think they had the rope set up for me over there. That's probably why it was on the table.
From what I did understand, there was a lot of paper, so it wasn't so much about the rope, it was about the bonfire they were going to start.
Oh. Mistake.
All in jest. No, I believe that everybody is agreeable at this point with it. Okay. Anything else on the motion? Discussion. Don, Councillor Marshall.
I guess I didn't speak on the first and second reading, so I'll speak about it now. I think that we had an excellent opportunity to, just going with fire departments in general, I think that there should be a study done across Grey and Bruce counties to realign how we provide fire protection. I don't agree or disagree with what our services we should provide. I would like the committee to do this, if the committee was ever formed, to design that, where the boundaries or where the service levels we should be providing. But if we go across the counties, we can see a lot of discrepancies of if we're providing fire protection to save lives or save buildings, then a boundary such as down in Newstead, where the Newstead Fire Department can see the fire burning, but the fire department is coming from Mildmay to get that fire out, is ludicrous, and I'm not sure how the insurance companies would swallow that. I believe there's lawsuits happening in Newmarket right now with that fire that happened in the spring where that family perished, and they were protected by a volunteer fire department, and the Newmarket Fire Department was within sight, but it was not their call. And that was a full-time fire department. They didn't go or couldn't go, or it was not their call. So that could bring about some realigning of departments. But if I find that, I feel that with Elmwood in the center, it was probably okay back in 1910, 1930 maybe, but we have upgraded equipment in Hanover, Chesley, Durham. We all got better fire equipment. We're providing better fire protection every year with training, and if that is the level of training or level of service that we're providing, then Dornoch should have a fire hall, Demore should have a fire hall. Orchard should have a fire hall. So I cannot support this just to send the message that we have to realign or do more investigating on where our fire protection should be.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on the motion on the Elmwood Fire Agreement? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? So noted. Motion is carried. Mark, you'll notify. Oh, I guess Brockton and will probably be notified quickly that we've passed it. Bylaw number 46. No, sorry. Bylaw number 45. My mistake. I have a bylaw that is moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45, 2013, being a bylaw to approve and authorize the execution of a canteen rental agreement at the Normanby Arena Complex, Steve Lawrence, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Are there any questions or comments on this bylaw? I think Mr. Gould had given us a pretty good report coming out of his on this bylaw. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Next is bylaw number 46. It's dealing with the tile drainage loan, moved by David Mollison. My apologies, Mr. Mollison. I have a motion moved by David Mollison, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that bylaw number 46, 2013, being a Tile Drainage Act rating bylaw for lands described as part lots 2 and 3, concession 7, former Township of Glencross, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed as amended and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Mark, one question.
Actually, a statement. The resolution passes the bylaw as amended because the applicant didn't take into account a reduction of about $357 he received as an early payment discount. So it was reduced from $13,400 for the loan to $13,200. So that's the amendment.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the bylaw? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. And number 47, dealing with a development agreement with a aggregate company. I have a motion moved by John Eccles, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 47, 2013, being a bylaw to enter into a development agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and Cedarwell Excavating Limited on lands described as part lots 43, 44, and 45, concession 1, SDR, former Township of Glenelg, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Mr. Mollison. Dave.
Thank you, Your Worship. I noted, I can't find the blessed thing now, but I tagged that and it's disappeared, that on the operation days it said Monday to Saturday from 7 until 6. And then it said Saturday from 7 until noon. I believe it should be Monday to Friday, 7 till 6. And I put a thing in here and I just can't.
Yeah, I got it.
You find it? Okay.
Should be Friday, yes. Very good. Thank you, Dave. So the mover and seconder of recognizing that, can we have as amended into this motion, John and John?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, originally, Monday to Saturday, 7 to
7. In negotiation, we changed it. Okay. So the motion would be now as amended. What's that amendment? Any other questions or comments on the motion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. New business. Is there any new business out there? If I could, there is one thing that
Can you bring that up, John?
when we were at the Warden's Forum, the Warden said that the new governance structure and how it would work if something was coming forward to the county as a proposal, that a resolution come from the lower tier and be put into the hopper and sieved through and see where it comes from, and those requests. Because I'd asked the question at the Warden's Forum about a county-wide library system or some hybrid of that. And so I just wanted to kind of say that is what the Warden has said, the way that it would be introduced at the county. Is there any comments or thoughts from Wes Gray putting forward a motion to the county of investigating, looking at, developing a county-wide library system? Councillor Lawrence.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I don't know about a county-wide, but as you said, a hybrid of it. Like, if there was some way that we each have our own libraries and we operate them, but if there was some way that we can have a reciprocal, so, you know, I can get a book in Flesherton and return it to Durham kind of thing. I think it would be an excellent idea. I can't see that it would be that big a cost. The biggest thing would be return of the books, I guess, to the proper library. You'd have to have some sort of a central clearing spot or something, but if that would at least get it started in front of the county for discussion and maybe some resolution, I would certainly propose that we would pass a motion here and send it on to county.
Okay, and just in working with it, I think, just wanted to introduce it. I'm not just certain we need to just jump and pass it today, but can we wordsmith it and get it together on for the June 17th meeting coming forward? Anybody else seeing nods down here on this side that will work towards that? This would be if I'm not mistaken, it would be the first time that this new process on the governance structure that the county committee worked on, that one of these things has come forward from a lower tier. So it would be taking a voyage into uncharted waters.
Let us be the first.
Let us be the first.
Lead the parade.
Yeah. As the dog team leader said, if you're not the leader of the dog team, it doesn't change. Okay, any other comments? Seeing none. Addendums, notice. Yeah. Notice motion or direct motion. I believe that we do have one that you wanted to bring, Mr. Bell or Mr. Eccles, coming out of the. Oh, Mr. Marshall, which one of you is down there? From the economic development on the cafes? Well, that's what I was.
That's what you just signed.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want? Well, if we're going to do this, it'll be on would be a direct motion. You want to introduce a direct motion on
Oh, sure, yes.
cafes.
Guide me.
And I don't think we'll get into basically coming out of economic development, development of sidewalk cafes, extensions, and that will be the direct motion coming forward. I'll need a 2/3 majority to introduce that motion. All those in favor of introducing a motion on sidewalk cafes? Well, you got a 100% on that, Mark. Didn't need the calculator to figure that one out. On the economic development meeting that was held on Thursday, which, as I said earlier, was not able to attend, but the economic development has been looking at this, of coming out and developing sidewalk cafes for our rural, urban areas. So I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Garry hereby endorses the concept of the Sidewalk Cafe Structure Initiative as recommended by the West Garry Economic Development Committee, and further that Council directs staff to proceed with implementing this project with the bylaw being prepared for the June 17th, 2013 Council meeting. Mr. Marshall or Mr. Bell, do you want to talk any further about the concept?
Well,
And I've seen, we do have some pictures, I'm going to send these
Yeah.
down. I've seen them, and I think the committee has seen them as well, too, so, of what we're looking at. Go ahead, Don.
this is going to be on the total cost to the store that's fronting this cafe. I'm not sure if we have ever decided on if it's going to be a uniform, if there is 2 or 3 stores that want this, if it's going to be uniform, or what the standards are going to be from the building department. I do appreciate the concept and moving it ahead. Just not sure we're going to be ready by the 17th of June or not.
Okay, John, Councillor Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, there was quite a discussion at the economic development table. These photos and the idea was brought up by Chris Kennedy, who also sits on the team. And basically, those photos are from Barrie. I understand it very well received there. We are of the impression that maybe 1 or 2 people maybe use this concept to further enhance their business. There has been a request for it. Obviously, not everybody all up and down the street are going to take a lot of parking spots away, but in this case, yes, there would be temporarily 1 or 2 possibly that would be affected. I know that the merchants have a problem with some parking in some places, but this was identified as somebody wanting to try this. We are trying to be proactive in the idea that trying to enhance our downtown. And it has been brought our attention. It's being tried and successfully done in other communities. So this is an initiative by the economic development people. If it doesn't work, we'll have to rescind the bylaw. I think it can work. And like I said, it's not going to affect very many businesses or very much parking.
Okay, Dave, Councillor Moles.
Are they going to be removed for the winter time?
Yes, they are, Dave. The timeline, what is proposed?
Yeah, the bypasses, yeah.
Yeah, the timeline right now, what's proposed, I think, is from the 15th of May to Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Thompson. Rob?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of this simply because of a traffic hazard. You're taking it out onto the street, the edge of the curb, people sitting out there. This is a highway with large trucks, transportation going up through there all the time. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's a big liability. I don't think this is going to work. We're losing parking spots downtown now. By adding furthermore these type of things out there onto the travel portion of the roadways, no, I'm not in favor of this at all. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Okay, anybody else? Carol, Councillor
Well,
Lawrence.
have they looked and taken measurements? Our sidewalks are fairly large, and when I see in other communities, with sidewalk cafes, they're not out onto the street, but they do have areas fenced in front of their business, and there's still a passageway for pedestrians. Have they looked at that and done some measurements? Like, you know, our sidewalks in town are fairly wide.
Rob?
Yeah, I just want to add to it. They do have, in front of the stores now downtown on the main street of Durham, they do have tables and chairs. They look lovely. They're out of the way. People can still use the sidewalks, and there's parking. They're not near the roadway where people are going to get hit by trucks. And yeah, I do think they look good. You know, those little tables and chairs that people can still access the businesses and are using them. So I don't think we should be going too far on this one.
Okay, anybody else? John?
Yes, and everybody will have their chance to, I guess, look at the bylaw when it comes forward, and that's why we did present the initiative to move forward to prepare a bylaw and get staff to bring forward those recommendations.
Okay, Carol?
Well, I guess my question wasn't answered, though. Have they looked at the space that's on the sidewalk itself, and does that allow enough space for a cafe, and if they want to put a little fence around?
And they haven't looked at that yet, Carol. Sorry, Councillor Lawrence, but I would presume that in those initiatives that are coming forward from staff, that would either be done, and yes, some measurements would be taken. None have been taken that I know of yet.
And I guess just further to add to that, Carol, the couple of the store owners that I've talked to said, yeah, there's a bit there, but they would prefer for themselves and to be safe that they would need the whole sidewalk. And if there was this type of an area, would really fit well for what they've got proposed. So, but the actual, has staff done? No, we haven't. West Grey staff hasn't. Okay. All right. No more questions then on the motion to try and prepare something for June the 17th. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That one's carried. All right. We do have a bit from closed session. A couple of small matters to address. We do have some time, but in that aspect, it will be at the end of the meeting here. And if I could be allowed to jump down, asking if there's any questions from question period, on the question period. Anything on the agenda that wants to be questioned? Mr. Crosby. Don.
Cedar well pit, has that been passed? Has there been a rezoning of it? I haven't seen anything about it.
Mark, as far as the county, yeah, the county, that aspect of it's gone through the official plan amendment because we let it go to that, which way you're going to go. So yes, and the zoning for the rezoning in West Grey has been done as well too. Yes. I'm going to say it was probably November, December. You might have been on your Cuba or your Jamaican winter vacation trip at that point in time. No. Yes, yeah, you're correct on that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, yeah, it did come through the county, Don. It was either February or March it came through there, and they were actually doing the archaeological study the other day. I happened to be going down the highway.
Okay. Dave?
No, sorry.
No, okay. That's, yeah, didn't think we were quite to you yet on that part of the agenda. Any other questions? Don, Councilor Marshall.
Just a question on the tile drainage bylaw. If that had been voted down, what would the repercussions be? And the reason I'm asking is because we got the Source Water Protection Act, Clean Water Act, and we're tile draining our filter land for our water. So some council someday said, nope, we're not going to allow any more tile drainage anymore, we're not gonna pass the bylaw, then what would happen?
Mark?
It's an interesting question. As you may recall, there was a resolution from council prior to the project being completed that they were supporting it. And then after the project is completed, the process of passing the bylaw, issuing the adventures happens after that. If council did not pass the bylaw, yes, that would be interesting dilemma for the property owner who's paid the expenses, paid the invoices, and may or may not be able to get securities from, or loan from a financial institution, possibly. I don't know if that's ever occurred. It's a good question.
Is on the financial, if I could, on the financial side of it, either borrow the money from the Tile Drainage Loan Act through the municipality, or you go to your bank, and if we turned it down, then go to the bank and see if you get the funding from there.
But it's not West Gray's money, it's run channeled through here from the province, so if we turn it down, they would probably just be able to step over our heads and go right to the province somewhere? No?
On that, I don't believe so. It's funding that has been delegated by the province for us to look after. They supply the funding, we do the administration, so I'm assuming, as it's never happened before, where it would happen is that the municipality turning it down, the province would stand behind that and said, nope, to the individual, but I don't think there is an appeal process at this point. I have to look into that, but I don't think there is an appeal process. Okay, Mark?
I haven't heard it occurring, but it is still subject to monies being available from the province. It hasn't been an issue since I've been dealing with them, but that is a caveat. So that could potentially occur if budget constraints happen and they didn't have the funding.
All right. Unless there's any other questions, then I would need a motion to return to closed session. Moved by Councillor Lawrence, seconded by Councillor Mollison, that the municipality of West Gray now returns to a closed session. Okay, at 11:50. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And now we'll retire to the boardroom for the closed session. Thank you.